Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's videos, we are going to talk about the CloudSploit, a powerful cloud security auditing tool that every DevOps and cloud engineer should know. If you are working with AWS, Azure or GCP, this video is for you, so make sure that you are watching till end. So what is CloudSploit? CloudSploit is security scanning tool. Its main purpose is to find the security misconfiguration. While finding out the misconfiguration, it does not attack on your system. It simply checks whether your cloud resources are configured according to the security best practices or not. So for example, let's suppose you have a S3 bucket over here, and at the time of creating this S3 bucket, so if you have uploaded any content in your S3 bucket and this bucket is public, anybody in the entire world will be able to see the content in your S3 bucket. So from the security point of view, this public is not configured with the security best practices. So CloudSploit will help you to detect such kind of resources created in your any of your cloud account. Most of the cloud breaches happen because of the misconfiguration, not because of the someone hacked the system. The another example we can take up the security group, and if you have created a security group and you have allowed 0.0.0/0 over port number SSH22 and it is attached to a EC2 instances, then again from the security point of view, this security group is not created up to the security best practices. CloudSploit help us to detect these problems early. Then how does CloudSploit work? How it's able to identify the misconfiguration in your AWS account? So it first scan the metadata of your AWS account. For example, if we have created a EC2 instance, it will get the metadata by the API call. Once all the metadata is collected, it have list of rules by which is used to check the relevant metadata of a particular resource, and then it identify that this portion of your that particular resource is not configured part of the security best practices. CloudSploit supports multiple cloud providers. It supports AWS, GCP, Azure, Oracle Cloud, Alibaba, GitHub as well. Let's head to the practical demo where I will be going to show you how we can set up the CloudSploit in AWS Cloud to detect the misconfigurations or any security related concern if you have in your AWS account. First, I am going to log into my AWS account. This is my AWS account. I am going to perform all my labs in the Singapore region. So I have selected the Singapore region. So you can select your preferred AWS regions. Then we are going to CloudSploit official GitHub page. So from here we will be going to check what all resources is required to install and the prerequisite of CloudSploit. Before creating any of the resources, we will first see what all resources will be need to set up our lab. So I will just again go back to my notepad. CloudSploit is written into the Node.js, so installation of Node.js will be required over here. And it does not support the latest version of the Node, so we are going to install the 18th version of the Node.js. And also, before installing this system, we will be required a EC2 instance. So we will be going to create that as well. CloudSploit needs some IAM read-only permissions so that it able to collect the metadata of AWS resources created. So we are going to create an IAM role and we will attach to with the EC2 instances with the sufficient permissions. Now let's get back to the AWS account. Search for the IAM. We are going to first create the IAM policy. We will come into the policy sections and we will click on this create policy. Then click on this JSON tab. Then we will again go back to this cloud security GitHub page. From here we will go to the AWS Amazon Web Services sections. Here we can see the list of permissions is required to give the CloudSploit. So we are going to copy this particular permission from here, and then we are going to paste it over here. Then we'll click on the next tab. I'm going to give a name like CloudSploit. If you are creating this particular resources for the production environment, then you can add the tags as well. Then click on this create policy. To verify whether that CloudSploit policy is created or not, we will search with the name. So it's created, and we can see all the permissions which we have given over here. Now we have to create an IAM role. So we will go into the role sections and create role. So over here, as we are going to attach this particular role on a EC2 instance, I am just selecting this service as a EC2 and then click on the next. So here, as per the cloud exploit documentations, we require these permissions and one more permissions, which is security audit policy. So I am going to assign these policy over here. I'll search for my policy which I have created, and then click on the select and then search for the security audit. I'm going to attach one more policy, which is the session manager, because I am not going to do SSH using the SSH key. I am going to use the session manager to connect to this particular EC2 instance. So I'll just select this SSM full permissions, and then we will click on the next, and here all the three policies which we have selected, it will be visible over here. Then in the role name sections, we can provide our role name. I am giving the same name as CloudSploit. Then click on this create role tab. Now we will search the name CloudSploit, the role which we have created, and if we will click on this, all the permissions which we have selected, it will be visible over here. Now we will be going to create a EC2 instances. Before that, I just wanted to clarify why we are using the IAM load over here for the authentications purpose to the CloudSploit. So basically, by two method, we will be able to authenticate, either create an IAM user or a role. But for the security concerns, if you are creating an IAM user, you will have to create a programmatic access. For that, you will require access key and secret key. But from the security point of view, creating a AWS access key and secret key is not best practices. By anyhow, if it is exposed, then anybody will be able to log into your AWS account with those permissions. Whatever permissions you have attached to that IAM user, that person will have the permission. So for the security regions, we are going to create a role, and if we will assign this role to the EC2 instance, that EC2 instance will automatically will have all the permissions whatever the roles contain. So now let's get back to the AWS console. Now we will search here for the EC2 services of AWS. Click on the instances. Click on this launch instances. Again, I am going to provide the same name CloudSploit as my EC2 instance name. You can select any of the operating system, but for this demo, I'm going to use the Ubuntu latest version, which is 24 LTS. If you have lots of resources created in your AWS account, then it is going to consume more compute resources. So for that, we will have to provide the minimum of a 4 GB RAM, but right now I am providing the 8 GB RAM because in my account there are lots of resources created. Here, as I have mentioned that I am not going to log in this particular EC2 instance using SSH or key pair, so I am just proceeding without key pair. And then in the network settings, click on the edit. Select your preferred VPC. I have my default VPC, so I have selected that one. And then you can select your preferred subnet. I'm selecting the first subnet over here. And then in the security group, we don't require any SSH. So we are going to remove this one. I have modified the name and the description of the security group. And as we are going to scan the lots of AWS resources, it is going to consume some amount of storage as well. I am providing the 20 GB of storage for now. And then we have to attach that particular role created which we have created previously. So I'm going to select that particular IAM role. The name of the IAM role was the CloudSploit, so I'm going to select that. And then everything you can keep as it is, and if you will click on launch instances, then EC2 will start provisioning. So we'll wait for it. It will take at least 2 minutes to come it in the running state. Once it will come in the running state, we can connect using the session manager. We can refresh from here and we can check the status. Right now it is in the initializing state, so we will still wait for it. Once the instances is ready to connect, click on the connect button, and then we are going to select the session manager, and then we'll click on this connect tab. So with the session manager, we are connected now. I am going to switch my user. So I landed to the home directory of the session manager. I am going to do cd and then enter. To update the package, we will run this command. And apt upgrade. Press Y. Then we will install the npm. So for that we will run the apt install npm command. We will install AWS CLI as well, so that we are able to check that whether we have a proper permissions or not. To verify whether the npm and the AWS is installed with the proper version or not, we will run this AWS hyphen version and npm hyphen version. We will check the Node.js version as well, as 18 should be installed. Now we will move forward with the main CloudSploit configuration. So again, we will go back to the GitHub page of the CloudSploit and we'll come over here. We will clone this GitHub repo using this git command. We can check using this ls command and then go inside this directory, and then we'll check if all the files is downloaded or not. So yeah, here it is. As this is a Node.js, before running the command, we will have to install the packages. So for that, we will run this npm install command. So make sure this run command inside the CloudSploit folder only, where your package.json exists. It will take some time to install the dependencies. Program file. So to make it executable, we will run this chmod plus x index.js command. Now this file is executable. So for that we will just run index.js and we will check the help, like what all command it supports. So basically over here we can provide the configurations file by providing the hyphen config. Then we have some more useful options over here. We can provide this console, whether at the time of running this script you want to print the output or not, and if you want to store the output in some other file, then you can provide the hyphen csp and then path of your output csp file name. CloudSploit have their own configurations file, so we can copy this config, for example, to config.js file. Once this is copied, we will just open this config.js file to see what all configurations we required. So whatever cloud provider it support, for that authentications, it have the different configurations. So we are proceeding with the AWS. So if you are using the method with creating the IAM user, then you will be having the AWS access key and secret that you can uncomment these two options and you can provide your access key and secret key over here. But as we have created IAM role and attached to this particular EC2 instances, it already have the permission, so we don't need to hard code the credential in the configurations file. So I'm closing this file from here, and we will verify that whether we have the correct permissions in the AWS or not. So we can run AWS S3 ls to list all the S3 bucket in this account. So these are the S3 bucket created. So it means our whatever the permissions we have associated with IAM role, it is working fine. CloudSploit detect all AWS regions, but it need a starting point for which region it should provide. So we are going to provide a starting regions by setting up a env for region. To set the environment variable, we can use the export command AWS_region. As I am working in the Singapore region, so I am going to provide, we can check by printing this environment variables value as well by using the echo command. As much as resources you will have created in your AWS account, the much it is going to consume the resources. So right now we will have to provide the node heap size. If you are creating EC2 instances with 16 GB RAM, then you can provide the 12 GB of heap size to the node so that your CloudSploit is not taking too much long to scan your cloud accounts. Right now, as I have provided only 8 GB to my EC2 instances, so I am allocating 6 GB as a node heap size for the CloudSploit to use. So the name for this particular environment variables will be node_options. Again, we can use the echo command to check whether this particular environment is set properly or not. All the prerequisite we have set up. So now quickly we will start the scanning. So by using all these options, we are going to run this script. I'm going to provide hyphen CSV options, and then I'll provide the file name so that it is able to save the result in this file. And then we will provide the hyphen console. So if we are running, we will be able to see some of the output from the terminal as well. If you encountered with such issues, you will have to downgrade the AWS SDK version because CloudSploit does not support the latest AWS SDK version v3. So we are going to downgrade it. So for that, we will use this command npm install AWS-SDK, and then the exact version you can give is 2.168.0.0. And then again we will run this npm install command. Once everything is done, now again we will run the previous command to start the scanning. Once the scan starts successfully, it will keep on waiting till the time it's not able to collect the metadata and all the rules whatever CloudSploit have, it's not able to validate against your all the resources. It is going to take some time, so have patience. If you have a big AWS account, it can take around 1 hour, 2 hours as well. So it's not a best practices to run this index.js command directly from the terminal. We will be going to run this in the background so that even though it is going to take lots of time, in the background it will be keep on running. So I'm going to press the Ctrl C to stop the executions, and we are going to use the no hub command in order to run this particular script in the background. We can also provide this ignore-OK option. What it will does basically, so if some of your cloud resources is configured as per the security best practices, that it is not going to list in the result sections. It is going to ignore that. So it will help you to save lots of content in your result so that you are only able to focus on the whatever the misconfigured resources you have. If this command returned any error, then for that we are providing a output file to log all the errors in this file. I am using this scan.log. The process is started in the background. To check that, we can run this ps-ef command. So as we can see, this particular process ID is same and this command is running in the background. It will take some time, and then once the result is populated, we will come back to check this. Once the scan is completed, the result will be stored in the results.csv file. Right now there is no content. Once the scan will be finished, we will have all the data over here. Whatever the CloudSploit will give the output, that will be get stored in the scan.log file. To verify whether the scan is completed successfully or not, we can run this again, ps-ef file grep index.js command. Right now we can't see any process running with the name of index.js. So it means that our scan is completed successfully. To print the initial 100 lines of logs from the scan.log, I am going to use this head command. So if your scan have completed successfully, so this type of output you will get. As in my account, there are lots of resources created over here. So the content of this file is very huge. And also at the end of this file, we can see that scan is completed successfully. So we will analyze this particular result to see what all it have flagged. So I'm going to cat that file results.csv. You can see for all these reasons, there is no guard duty configured. So guard duty is very important AWS service to detect any anomaly activity in your AWS account. So it should be enabled. I'm finding the security group. So here in the security section as well, we can see this like lots of a port is opened from the 0.0.0.0/0. So that's why all these are getting flagged by the CloudSploit. So all these resources, which whatever we have created in AWS environment, CloudSploit will be able to detect all those AWS services. So this was all about the CloudSploit. Thank you for watching.